All right. Welcome. And we are live. And let's see. We are just going to be waiting on our guest. And that is going to be TroyLee. And I'm just going to sort of get myself situated here. All right. I sent the link. I am pretty certain if there's not something set up correctly. Andrew, the new tank is doing really well, actually. Oh, there we go. All right. There he is.
Here I am.
What's going on, brother?
Not
I'm gonna take
much.
my glasses off. I'm just gonna act like I can see you good. But I don't typically wear glasses, bro. And I'm like, man, when you get a little bit older, you'll
Oh
figure this
no,
one out.
I'm there. Actually, I
Are
can
you?
see up close. I can't see far away.
Okay, I got you, bro. Well, hey everybody, I just want to welcome TroyLee, otherwise known as Lee, to the channel. Lee is actually your first name, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome, man. And so, if you guys have followed Lee, do you want me to call you Lee or TroyLee? Which is probably better for you?
Whatever. Either one's fine. Everybody
All right.
probably
Well,
knows me as TroyLee on the forums, so that's where
okay,
we're
well
at.
then I'm just going to keep calling you TroyLee. Like we had a little sideline about our about the name Lee, and I won't get into any specifics, but there's a correlation or a connection there. But anyway, not to digress in that. Welcome everybody. We've got TroyLee here today with us, and again, this is just a hangout, man. We are just gonna like chill out. We're gonna talk reef shit. There's
Yep.
no real filters here. It's
Not
definitely
at
not
all.
made for kids. So yeah, I mean, look, it's in the interest of the channel that I make it sort of unfiltered like that, because sometimes we got to be real with one another, and I
For
just
sure.
probably prefer to keep it that way.
Nah, exactly.
So anyway, man, well, where you coming in from?
I'm in Vegas.
Okay.
Born
Now,
and
is there a
raised
pretty
native out here.
Oh wow, man, that's insane. Yeah, I'm in Florida, born and raised too. So, it's rare that people stay near their homes these days. But yeah, anyway, man, how's the reef scene out there? Pretty good.
You know what? It used to be in the early 2000s. It's kind of died off. Like, the hobby just turns and burns people. They come and go. The reef clubs are kind of gone. There's some Facebook groups, but there's not like it used to be. What's up, Jackson?
Yeah, you see him in there. Well,
I
we're
do
gonna
see
we're
it.
gonna eventually, like in the next couple of weeks, when especially as the holidays ramp up, if people have a moment to get away from their families and like go live, maybe we can do like a panel thing. We've kind of been tossing
Sure.
around the
I think that'd be
idea.
way cool.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be cool. But anyway, yeah, I just kind of I've been kind of following you. I haven't really dug deep into your journal, but I definitely see a lot of your pics on Instagram, and I see your journal there on Reef to Reef, and it's just so the audience here
Yeah.
knows, it's TroyLee on both, right?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
cool. And yeah, and so like I'm fascinated, and I think there's a connection because I know that I saw you heavily influenced by Sonny X, or Sonny, if you will.
yeah.
And Yeah, and I was heavily influenced by Sonny, and we're going all the way back to like 2000, man, I want to say 2006, 2005. When I first got in, I started seeing some of his photos, and I was just blown away. So
I
I immediately
followed
started
him.
following you because of that. Just so you
Yeah.
know.
No, I followed him since way back in the days on RC before I got banned over there for whatever. I don't even know. But yeah, like I've always been friends with Sonny for years now. And I took a long break from the hobby. I was gone for about 12 years and just came back little over 2 years ago and started these new tanks. And it's a lot different now than it was. The hobby's changed for sure. Like stuff's gotten really different with all the different testing and everything we have nowadays. We didn't have that back in the day. So it's people use it a lot. I don't. I'm still sticking old school, easy, simple,
Mhm.
live rock skimmer. That's it for filtration and just go with the flow, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that. I'm kind of a big fan of that. That's what this is kind of all about. And sometimes I guess it maybe it may be unappealing to a certain type of reefer, but then again there's several that sort of like that way too. So I think there's certainly different ways to go about this, but for
There's a
me
million different
keeping things
ways.
that way
Yeah.
seems to be the best.
I tell these guys all the time. I mean, reefing's only as hard as you make it. Like if you know the basics, that's all you need to know. Stick with them, and you'll be successful. If you wanna dab into all the fancy stuff that's out now, I mean, more power to you. I don't know what works and what doesn't work. There's only a few things I've tried, like ammonia dosing. I love it. It seems to work. It works really well.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't get too crazy into everything that's just came out since the old days because we were successful back then, way before ICP testing or aquabiomics, which I think is really cool to see what's really going on in your tank. Like we didn't have none of that, and we were still successful back in the day.
Hmm.
The metal highlights and the VHOs. I actually started with power compacts. I mean, I've been around for over 20 years, so it's different. Things are different, but
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm kind of cut from the same sort of cloth there, as far as my philosophy, as it relates to reefing. And I just kind of want to preface that even though it's like kind of the channel is kind of geared towards Acropora, I don't want anybody out there salty hands in any of the hobby to be deterred from stopping on by because there's so much crossover and it's really pretty much the same for all the
it is.
environments, minus a few little tweaks. So,
It's not. I mean, I always love a challenge, so that's how I got into the SPS game. Like, all right, and I've lost hundreds of them. We all have. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like, it's not easy, but if you can keep them, you can keep anything. Like they say, a mixed reef is the hardest, and I kind of see that with the SPS tanks. Like the flow gets a little crazy for some of the LPS and softies, but torches, they love it. They love the high par. They love the high flow. Like they grow like crazy in it compared to other corals. Hammers don't like them so much. A cans never had too much luck with the A cans. Like I have a couple colonies. They survive, but they don't really thrive. I should say. I don't know. It's different. Everything's different, and keeping them together is kind of a pain in the ass. But
it's
SPS
like
has always been labeled as the hardest. So let's do it. I love the challenge.
I remember Abe from Coral Euphoria years ago doing like sort of like this walkthrough of all these different systems that were like interconnected in different rooms. And literally each one was sort of operating with its own microenvironment and was literally testing different from one to another. And I just think that really just proves that this hobby we really can't replicate it from one and we really can't even do
You
like
can.
this like virtual type of let me peek into your tank and see what's going on. You really got to be it's literally got to lie in the hands of the aquarist, the reefer, to
It
dig
does.
deep.
It does, and it's. I mean, I just started a frag tank out here, and it's been going on for like 5 weeks now or something like that, and it's totally different than the display that I have in the house. And this one, I started with a couple of the rocks out of the display, threw them in here, and then I did a water change on the display, put them into this tank, and it took off and it's doing well. But the corals that I cut from in there and put out here are totally different. They're under the same lighting. Everything's the same except for the flow. It's a little different in here because obviously it's not blocked by rocks and everything. It's
Hmm.
wide open, so they're getting better flow. I'm getting different colors. I'm just now starting to see growth. I mean, every day is a learning experience. Nobody knows everything. It's different. It's it's really different. It's weird. But
Yeah, I
now that
just
I
think
can
there's.
experiment out here and not on the display, it helps me a lot because I like to play.
Yeah, you like to like test things and like tinker, do side by side comparison type stuff, and
I do, and like back in the day, like people know me from the early days of RC, and it was Club Zoa at the time when I joined Reef to Reef, and
okay,
I was
okay,
still like today. My avatar is Bob the Builder. I was building stuff. Like I was one of the first ones to make cone bodies for the skimmers, and was innovating and making the LEDs before any of these manufacturers were doing them. I mean, actually, Reef Breeders was following me back then when I was making all these different LEDs and
mhm.
doing stuff. And it's just I had one of the first drop off tanks. I'm sure some of these people have seen them if they followed me on the forums. And I seen one out of
Oh, I
Europe. I
totally
hadn't
remember you
seen
now, man.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of them in the United States. I built one. It was cool. It had its challenges, and I see now that the manufacturers that are doing them must have read my threads. Like I had a lot of problems with flow and the drop off part and this and that, and they changed everything. Like I didn't have the little baffle to keep the sand from blowing from the shallow to the drop off down in the bottom. It was just a lot of problems, and people took notes and doing it now, which is really cool. The hobby's
Yeah,
changed. Like
that's really
back then,
insane.
I was so about the innovation and just building. I didn't really have. I mean, I had the hiring corals and doing crazy stuff back then, but I wasn't about growing the corals. I was more about building. That's what I do. I'm a fabricator
Okay.
by trade. That's what I do for a living, and it was just to me, it was always my jam. Like, let's build something. Let's innovate. Let's get this more progressed into the hobby, and it's totally different now. Like I say, I took a 12-year break, came back like, whoa, what is all this? Like everything is totally different nowadays. It's kind of crazy.
Man, that's great information, man. I appreciate you dropping that knowledge here and sharing, your experience because, I think it's important. That's what we really designed this to be. Really, it's like it's a hangout, but I want to meet like, the hands-on people that are out there, like, really performing and to me, that is sometimes it's like they're overlooked,
They
right?
are.
Or maybe there's people out there that have a story. And like, dude, if I wouldn't have had you here right now, I would have
Yeah.
never known anything about Club Zoa. I would have known little to nothing about your drop off system. And I certainly didn't
Yeah.
know about your experience tinkering with LEDs. And now, with fabrication and things like that, it's just so cool. And that's what this is all about. It's like it opens up the dialogue, and then next thing you know, we start learning some shit about each other that,
Yep.
it opens like your mind, it opens it for the audience too. And those who follow you, there might be crossover and people that follow me and whatnot. And I think
Yeah.
it's
For
awesome and it
sure.
just brings things together. So hopefully people are seeing that that's the direction here, and it's not going to be anything fancy or nothing like that. It's just if people have time and they want to come in and talk about what's going on in their world with reefing and how they're
Yep.
doing this, or yeah, hey, even like I kind of want to introduce an idea each time, like, hey, what's your freaking, your beef of the week or your gripe, not beef, I shouldn't say that. What's your gripe of the week, or what, like what's your thing that's got you irritated this week, that's got you graded, because I can tell you mine this week is I love aquaphores, dude. I love aquaphores. All right. But here's the deal. I've been using them since 2016, and I don't think I've ever gotten a bucket from anybody without being broken. And we were talking about this years ago. And I said, I was just telling the president, Sever, I was like, Sever, come on, dude, just you gotta use a thicker plastic, man. And it was always an ongoing thing. But and here we are today. I only bring this up because I just got a delivery and I'm like so stoked. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna mix up some of my my salt today and get ready for a big water change this weekend because I kind of want to do a sort of like a reset,
Yeah.
and so I'm like mixing it up, and I've been using Aquaforce, like I said, since 2016. So
Yeah, no,
I'm not
you
going
were
to
working for him
switch,
for a while.
and I love them. And if they're listening right now, you guys, broken bucket of salt. I don't give a shit. What I did is I took it out of the bag, I rolled it around, and I threw it in a bucket I have on hand and called it a day. So my gripe is over. I love their salt, and it's worth every bit of it. But next time, I'm not going to get in a bucket. I'm just going to go for the box. It's more affordable that way, anyway.
Yeah,
All
it
right, so that's
is.
my beef or my issue for the week. So anyway, moving along,
I
man.
don't
So
know what my
catch
issue
me
is
up,
this.
dude. Catch me up to this system, because all right, so when I remember, I saw you have a tank, and the next thing you know, I'm like, dude, this guy's got like a bigger tank going like in the background, and I'm like,
I
I can't
did.
even keep up. So help me understand what's going on in your world, bro. And if you want to
That was
show
the
it,
thing. Back in the days, I always used to build tanks. Like I changed tanks every 4 or 5 months. I never gave the corals a chance to grow. I was about building and fabrication and innovating, and that was just my jam. And then, like I say, I took a 12-year break. I got divorced, was moving around, never had a tank, and finally got settled in. And then, actually, my father-in-law, who passed away not too long ago, got a little 10-gallon freshwater tank, and my wife's like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And I was like, "You don't know what you're getting into." So I found a 60-gallon cube, and then I picked that up, and it was like a full blown. It was a fish only with live rock, and then I got that and cleaned it off the nitrates for like over 100. I was pegging every test. It was just all bad, but I was like, you know what? Bought a Radeon, threw an XR15 over it, and threw some SPS in there. And believe it or not, it started growing in those kind of conditions, which was really crazy to me. But it's more of the biome. And I didn't know anything about the microbiomes and stuff until like Salem came along and they start talking about it all the time now. And then I was like, it makes sense. So I started digging more and reading more about it and learning about that. Like they didn't grow at like any outrageous pace or anything, but they weren't just surviving. They were actually growing, not thriving, but I would say they were growing. The phosphates were through the roof, the nitrates were through the roof. And I know there's a few people out there like Dale's, his tank was really high in phosphates and stuff. And I've been playing with the display in there, which is only like 2.5 years old. Everything was grown from a 1-inch frag. They're huge now. I got huge colonies in that tank, and they adapt to anything. Like just give it time. That's the thing. These people nowadays, they want everything to happen overnight, and it doesn't. And I used to be there. I know what it is. I had to buy the fanciest corals and expect that they were going to grow overnight. Oh, I'm going to make $1 million in this hobby or do that. It's not the case. It's not the case.
man,
The older you get, the
acro
more
dreaming.
patience you get.
Yes, this is true, isn't it? Yeah, man. I remember back in the day, man, everything looked like a damn acro.
It did.
Every tree I drove by, everything I looked outside, I was like, man, that looks like an acro. Like, you're just so,
It did.
yeah, addicted, obsessed. But yeah, man, it's good to hear that. Um, so you wanna do a walkthrough? I mean, what time of day
Yeah.
are you in right there with your Spectrum?
I'm outside right now in the frag tank. The halides are off, but I can always kick them back on.
Oh, you don't have
It's
to do
going
that
through
on
its
on
motion.
that account.
No, it's fine. I mean, here, let me see if I can turn this around. There we go.
All right, I'm
It's
gonna put on my glasses now.
all right. This one's been up
Okay,
for. You know what? Let me put a filter on here. Maybe it'll help because the halides are off.
I mean, it looks sick like it was, but this looks even better because now I'm seeing a natural
Yeah.
white balance rendition.
This what I'm saying. This
Wow,
tank in here has actually got the LEDs and the metal highlights on it. Is running. A lot of this is just overflow from the display. Some of it, like those hammers I just got, they're rescues from a friend of mine, but I don't know if we can see. Let me turn off the flow here. Maybe it'll look a little better.
beautiful. Your
Like I said,
colors look
this
really
is
nice, man. Healthy looking corals.
some dinos going on in this tank. I just started a month ago. It was actually really rocking, and now I'm starting to get growth. But I just made these frag racks the other day, and brand new surface with no bacteria on it. And here we go. We got some dinos, but it's what it is. It's part of the game. It actually takes a lot of people out of the hobby, and they're not that hard. Most of them, I can't say. I don't have a microscope. I don't. I'm cheap. I like to just play the game of let's figure it out and let's get it done. So to me, UV lights, and then like yesterday, you could see there's a lot of it still in there. I dosed the coral snow, the calcium carbonate with some zeovac and microbacter 7 in there, and just coat the
Hmm.
surfaces. I don't know if you can actually see, but
Okay,
there's some
yeah,
dinos in
yeah,
there. But yeah, it's coating the surfaces. If you scrub it off, it's going to make more of a mess, and the dinos come right back. But just let it do its thing, and they'll be gone. And every time I've experienced these, they're gone in 3 or 4 days. A lot of reapers fight it and fight it and fight it, but it's pretty simple. I got those 2 rocks that I pulled out of the display. All the rest of this was just dry rock that I got from some local people, and there's a skimmer on it for filtration, and that's it.
yeah. That's all
Top
it
off with
needs, dude.
calc. I top off with calc, which I think is like the backbone of SPS. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't agree with that and don't want to top off with it because it burns your pump up. And I'm like, you know what? If I got to replace a $50 pump once a year, who cares? But I haven't had to do that, honestly. I've had the cheap ones off Amazon, the Aqua Autos. I've had those for like 2 years and no problems. Finally, the optical eye did take a crap. I had a couple calc overdoses inside on the display, but I didn't lose any pieces. It's
Yeah,
so
I did a pretty cool little thing on calc a while back where I was I was working out a 25 ml doser per minute, and I was able to put it on one of them old school
yeah.
15 minute interval timers, and I
Uh,
had that thing so damn dialed in, and but now the system's small, so I don't really have. I guess I could use it, but I just prefer A and B in a small system.
It
But
is,
yeah,
and
man, that's
that's the
looking
other
killer.
thing. Like I've always had small frag tanks, and I give it to these guys to keep these little tiny SPS tanks. Like it's so much harder than a big tank. I know the big tanks cost more money, but they're so much more stable and they're so much more forgiving. Like I had those 2 calc overdoses in there. It dumped 25 gallons each time. Within 2 weeks, I dumped 50 gallons of freshwater calc into
Shit.
my display and didn't lose a single piece. Like if that was a little tank, it would be crazy. Because
Yeah, I
it killed
mean,
everything.
I've met my challenge, man. I'm running it's probably 25 gallons in the display and another 5 gallons in the sump, so about 30 total gallons. And I'm keeping freaking A cans and acros, and it's only 12 inches high. In fact, I got one of those new hydrometers today, and I had to
Yeah.
call my buddy Matt if he's watching. Dude, I'm a moron, but anyway, I meant to put it in the tank, and I'm like, how does this thing work? Dude, my tank was too shallow to register. I'm like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
get it. I guess I need a deeper water volume. So yeah, I was pretty close to where I thought I should be, but yeah, anyway, I'm mixing up some salt water
I'm one
anyway,
of
but
those people that are guilty of. I use reef crystals. I always have and always will. I never had a problem with it. I do the 2 scoops is 5 gallons, and that's how I measure it. And this is here. That's how old school. And that thing is 20 years old. I still use it today. I have the fancy
yeah.
refractometers. I have the there's the water change station. It's hard to
Oh
see.
man, you got a nice.
Got a lot of
So yeah, so let's
there.
see that right there, man. That's beautiful. Nice setup there.
Got the quick pump that flushes. I forget what it's. What is that? Aquatic Life the ROD booster pump with the thing, and then it's a 7 stage, but the whole bottom here is just RODI. That one's obviously the fresh water. That one's salt water, as you can see, all the brown dust from the reef crystals, because that's what they love to do. But like I say, this thing I've had it for 20 years. I actually bought a new one because I was like, maybe this isn't any good, and it was leaking, and I'm like, And this thing's so busted. It's so old. The whole bottom's broke off. It doesn't even stand up early. But then I got the fancy refractometer. I hate it. I do have the fancy
Yeah.
Tropic Marine one, and I used that on the display one time. And I seen, and this $10 hydrometer it's pretty accurate for what it is. So I just whatever that thing registers, I don't care if it says 101.2 or whatever. That's what I make the salt water, and I just change it. I don't play the
Yeah,
game of oh everything's got to be
that's true.
perfect.
Well, when you like, look, man, you've got the offset, you got the volume to work with. So, you
Yeah,
can
that's thanks.
fluctuate a little bit up and down, and it's not going to be cosmetic. Um, but yeah, man, look at all them frags. Now, so are you doing like frags locally and stuff like that? Or
I
you got a like
have, but
network
there's
of people
not
that
a
you're dealing with?
lot of SPS keepers in Vegas. I want to
Gotcha.
say there's only like 4 or 5 now. Like most of these are easy ones. They're out of my display. You know what? I had a big display and I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars to fill it up. So I have the Slimers, the blue Slimer, the green Slimer, the Anacroporas, the Digis. I have all that stuff in there and the tank's full. And everyone looks at it and they're blown away by it. They're not like, oh, is that a home wrecker? Is that a name coral? Nobody cares about that. I I,
Nah, man.
I personally don't like the name game.
Well,
And
you're doing.
I love that
No,
Adam
go
makes
ahead.
silly names about it, because
Oh yeah.
that's the way it is, man. Like, stop throwing some fancy name on there and charge more money. Like, that's one of my pet peeves. Always will be. That and chop shops.
Yeah, like Alan and I sort of like were diving into, like I had this idea a while back, and I was like, what if, what if there's a time of the year that's probably more of an ethical, appropriate time, or when we should cut these corals? And, should we be doing
That's a
these
good
when
question.
it's on a downturn, in a savior type fashion? If they come back, so be it. But usually, I had more success when they were on the upswing, and we would, taking frags when they're on the upswing, to me seems the best way to go about doing things. You know what I mean? Um, I know it's always hard to sort of go with that mentality, but to me, I do think that, like if you have an actively growing acro, it's a probably a better time to cut it and pass that frag along to someone else.
And I'll do the opposite. If something's not growing, I'll clip it. And I can't say every time, maybe 80% of the time, it promotes growth. Like the coral wants to recover.
Hmm.
So if you have something that's stagnant in there and you clip a little bit of it off or scrape some flesh off of it, it seems to regrow. And then all of a sudden it kicks it into overdrive and it wants to take off. And then you start getting growth. I have a couple in my display. When we go in there, I'll show you that they've been in the tank for over 2 years. They don't budge. I don't even know what corals they
Hmm.
are. They were encrusted to a rock when I got it, and they just don't grow. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. They've
they're
been under metal highlights. They've been under LEDs. They've had different flow. They've had everything. They don't grow. I
that's
don't know what it
RMF
is.
psychoberry for me. I've had that. It's been the same size for about 9 months, 10 months now. It hasn't put on any weight. Barely made an attempt to encrust, but it's still
Yeah,
hanging in there. We'll see what happens. Sometimes these things take a while to wake up and
they
come out
do.
of dormancy, and sometimes they have a time of year when they want to grow, and then they just sort of back off. And I think there's probably more to explore with seasons, and like I've gotten into this like ideas of circadian rhythms and shit like that. But that's whatever. That doesn't mean shit in the grand scheme of things. It's
It doesn't.
it's really keeping that stability in your system, and and just trying to repeat your processes as closely as you can each and every time, whether it's feeding or maintenance
It
or
is. And when I
whatever.
set up this tank in the garage, I'm like, man, I'm never going to be able to mimic that display in there. Like, I felt like I got lucky. Like, how am I going to copy that with another tank? Because it's a whole separate system. I had a little frag tank in there, I don't know, 6, 8 months ago. I had like a 40-gallon cube next to it. And and it grew nothing but algae. It was growing algae better than the corals, and I'm like, yeah, no, I was gonna plummet into the display, and I'm like, no, I'd rather just have a big one because, like I say, I'm a lazy reefer. I buy my fish to do their jobs. Tanks take care of the algae. I don't really have a cleanup crew. I've never had luck with cleanup crews. They always end up dying off. A wrasse eats them, whatever. Like, I don't know. So I use the tangs for the algae. I have a pair of diamond bar gobies that keep the sand clean. And I've heard a lot of people like, oh, Sonny will polish his tank up for a photo sheet. Like, mine stays clean every day. I don't. The only thing I do is run a mag float around the glass, clean the glass daily. That's the only thing I do. That tank stays clean. It's not impossible to do it. I don't know why it stays so clean. I mean, I guess it's just the fish that I bought. Like, everybody has a job. I don't just buy a fish because it's cool. I buy it because each one has a job. Let's get this one because they eat this algae. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get the diamond bars in there. They clean the sand. Do they stir it up and make a mess? Yeah. But you know what? For me not to have to go in there and siphon my sand and clean that out every day, it's to me it's a plus. Like, I'll take it all day long. The more they do,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
less I got.
I had a diamond globey that I loved, man. I swore on it in my 120 that I had years ago, and it used to dump so much sand, but like literally, man, I could just see the polyp extension on the corals, and
They
every
do.
time and it was working all day long, and I had 24/7 PE feeders, never
Yeah.
stopped. I mean, feeders out all day, all night, never recessed. I mean, just constantly corals feeding, and so there's something to keeping all of them what do you call them, utility type animals or reef animals in your tank, like fish wise. So yeah, man, I
I
mean,
mean, if
good
you
stuff,
pick them
bro. I mean, I
selectively, they all got a job and they'll do it. You ain't got to pay them. Just feed them. The gobies you don't
yeah,
even
no
have to
doubt.
feed. They will keep your sand clean. There, you don't have to siphon it every water change and do all this. I know Sonny has a pretty strenuous cleaning schedule on his tank. I don't. That display had to do anything except for clean the glass, which used to only be every 3 or 4 days. But now that I started mixing urea with ammonia, we'll get into that in a little bit. That has caused a green and brown film almost daily that I have to clean off.
Uh-huh.
But besides that, like, everything else stays clean. I don't have a ton of snails. I think there's only like 2 crabs left in there because I have a really large blue star leopard. He's done took everybody out for the cleanup crew. I just I don't know. In
Now
here
your
in
display,
this,
what size is that again? That display of yours?
it's two. It's like 285. It's 76 by or 72. Sorry, 6 foot long, 3 foot wide, and 2 foot tall.
Oh, that's killer, man. That's
It's a,
perfect.
in here. That's right here.
Oh yeah, look at
It's a
that.
little hazy. I was telling Perry earlier before we got on here that the my top
Goodness
off was
gracious.
empty. So all of a sudden, all the calc in the bottom sucked up and decided to spit into the tank. So we got to
Man, bro,
put the
thank you for
filter on.
sharing this with me, man. Thank you so much for sharing this with me because I can totally geek out on your system. Another look, guys, I want to share with you another system. It's inspired by Sunny, you can tell, and you can see. I could see a lot of the Zeovit um, touch on the system. You got colors like me that are a little bit have a little bit more saturation, but like are equally as vibrant. So it adds a little bit of a twist. They're not so pastel, but man, it is
They're not
very
like,
captivating.
I'll never be able to catch the color of that. That's a
Look at
coral
that right there,
pearlberry.
man.
That
What
thing
is
is
that, a
insane
pearlberry
in
right there?
person. Yeah, it is. I can't get
I
the
mean, it's
colors
insane right
to.
here.
Yeah, that in person, it's so vibrant, it's so bright, and it's so weird because
Goodness
like
gracious.
these new generation of reefers come over and they're just like, "Oh, well, what name corals you got?" Like, I got a Bill Murray right there, that big green ugly thing. I don't know. I haven't got the red. It gets the blue tips on it, but I haven't got it to turn red and blue like you see all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I got
Yeah,
something
that
just
one's light.
simple.
light
Like,
dependent too sometimes.
yeah, there's like an old school Becker tour, Miyagi tour. There's
Wow.
the Great Carol's Aquaberry. That one's
Mm,
the laser melon from Battle Corals. It
hmm.
doesn't look pretty right now, but if I turn these whites off, that thing glows. It's a blue light special, as Adam would call it.
Tenuous, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, this
Wow.
one is peeling. Should I
Yeah.
panic? No.
No. No, no,
Everybody's
no.
like, oh, and then look, hold on, we got little starfish eating it, so it must be the starfish fault. That's what everybody wants to look for the blame. Something. You know what? I'll show you. I got over 100 acros in this tank, and that one's peeling. Am I going to change something? No. Even this CSB, he's starting to kill everything. This thing's massive. I knew
I
what
mean,
I was
dude, it can
getting
be
into.
something so small,
It
like
is.
it could be a tentacle of something that gets caught in the water that hits an open wound that somehow causes a reaction. I mean, there's so many things that can
That's what I'm
happen that
saying.
we don't have any way of quantifying. We just have
No.
to,
And people will
like look when I
panic and
look.
start making
No,
changes.
no,
Like, don't. Like, this is one of my favorites from Adam. That's the Shag Priority. That thing is so hairy, fuzzy. It's crazy.
nice. That's a fur. That thing is furry.
That's stupid. Mystic
Look at how
Mommy,
big
which you
that
can see
table.
is growing all
Jeez.
over that rock. It's actually growing up Stella and everywhere else.
Oh, okay.
Stella's
Okay, I
turning in
see
my
it.
frag rack. There's a
Wow, look at that. That's cool
that one
shit.
grafted. That's a the Reef Raft goldenrod. Somehow it took on a graft, so I cut that piece off. I left that in the display. I got the other one out in the frag tank for now, but yeah, I don't know. Like,
Wow.
even
Now
this
your
huge,
corals
you
look
can't
colorful.
see how big that damn thing is. But that table right there, what was it? I started this tank in April of 2 years ago, so it's 2.5, almost 3 years old. That thing, everything in here was a 1 inch frag at that point, and that table's about 16, 18 inches, and I've cut it a lot. You can see it's got deformed now because it's not round or anything, but I keep cutting it because the shadow and everything. I didn't even know it was a table. It came with the tank. It was encrusted to a rock, which is a crazy story because I got a few rocks with the tank and I had them in a trash bag. When I broke the tank down at the guy's house at like 7 o'clock in the morning, we drained it, threw the rocks in the trash bag, got it all the way across town over here to my house, filled it up in by like 3 p.m. So about 8 hours, I would say. Anything that was encrusted to a rock was in that trash bag with no water. And I'm like, oh, everything's going to be dead. Like that Mystic Money. This knot is about 2 feet wide now. It goes everywhere. It's all the way down there. It's the only thing that holding it back is that Slimer. It's growing up to Stella. It's growing everywhere. It goes all the way around that rock. It's a pain. Lesson learned. I
I
figured,
remember.
oh no, it would die, but it didn't die. It took off. It was out of water for 8 hours, and then it just exploded with growth when I filled this thing up. It's pretty crazy.
Yo, Jackson, Gaiusa tea, bro. And I'm not drinking spirulina. Anyway, sorry about that, bro.
Drew, what's up, Drew? I see you're in there in the comments. I got the halide meridian combo going, so you got competition now.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was a,
So yeah. So walk me through your lighting right here is that the
this
reef
is
readers?
yes, those are the Reef Breeder Meridians. No, I'm not
Okay.
sponsored. No, I don't get anything from them. I got the whole floating canopy that I built. Like I say, I'm a builder.
That's
That's what I do.
beautiful,
But
bro. That
yeah,
is
just a
beautiful.
pair of 63s on there. It was, you know what, two fixtures, two cords, less trouble. The app works great. I mean, no, it's simple.
Yeah, I'm
It's so
running
simple.
their one of their V232 Pro over my little system, and I have no
You have the
complaints
photon,
over it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Adam pushes these things so much, and then I listen to other guys like um, Telegram. He reviews all the lights. Andre, just doing it before. I don't think he did anything with these meridians, but they get a bad rap, and then Adam's like, "No, dude, they're good. They're good." Adam at Battle Corals, obviously. I speak to him
Hmm.
almost daily, and when that dude speaks, listen to him. I mean, his farm speaks for itself.
That's what I'm
He knows
saying.
what's
It's
up.
like I like if I was gonna if I was gonna take advice, for my health from a physician, and there was two
Yeah.
physicians, and one of them had degrees plastered all over his wall, but he was 200 pounds overweight, and then the other one has none, but is in incredible shape. I probably would venture to say that I'm the kind of guy who's gonna probably pay attention to the guy that's in great shape. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be judgmental or mean when I say that.
No,
It's
not at
just, to
all.
me, the proof is always in the pudding. And to me,
It is.
it's why I reached out to you. It's the proof is there. It's like Alan, the proof is there. And it's like Jackson, Rich, the proof is there. And so I don't know if you can see a correlation in why I'm trying to talk to certain people, just because I think it's worth noting, and your reef is needing to be shared, and your story,
So, dude,
like I
yeah.
said, needs to be heard. And so that's what this is all about. And then, and hopefully as it evolves, we're going to, get into some other stuff that, maybe some lighting topics. And, I know I'm trying to work with, if you remember Big E or Ed,
Yeah, yeah. Remember
I'm
Ed?
I'm trying
Big
to
E.
get him on a panel type deal. And so he's hopefully going to do it in the near future. And so that would be great.
That would definitely
Because
be
I think
cool.
he's got a lot of insight with lighting and old school lineages
Yeah.
and things like that.
He's all about his Orfex, and they're working for him. And I mean, I tested a few lights. I didn't test any of the new Orfex. Before we get into that, I just want to show that was actually, if you want to get in tune with your tank, that little coral right there was actually a little tiny frag about a year ago. And we jumped in. I jump in on all of Adam's Battle Corals grow outs. If you want to get in tune with your tank, I think that's one of the best ways. That's what's really kept me involved in this hobby so much is these grow outs that Adam puts on with Battle Corals.
Hmm.
Hey, it's fun. It's a challenge. Let's see if we can beat the best. And now Adam's in them, so he's like got $100
Oh,
thing. If you can beat Adam, he'll give you $100. It's it's fun. It really, really, really keeps you in tune with your tank.
I'm gonna
Like
do that. Like maybe
I
when I upgrade.
never paid so much attention to my tank. Like every day I come home, I gotta check it. I don't really test too much. I'm guilty of that. I mean, I have a Trident on there, and I have an Apex, and those obviously test a big three. I don't test my nutrients too much. I will test them on the frag tank because I got some dinos, but I tested them last week, and my nitrates were running around 5 to 7. I think it was 5, and the phosphates were like 0.03. That's good. I ran my tank there. I ran that display at that. That display right now is running at around 25 nitrates, and my phosphates are at zero point 0.3. And they're like, "Oh, you can't do that. It's going to stop the calcification." No, it doesn't. I won that grow out running my phosphates and my nitrates super high, and there's no algae in that tank. I used to run it super low because I'm like, all right, well, I'll dose the Zeo. I was doing this, doing that, try to keep the nutrients super low. We're not going to have any algae. We won't have any problems. And I starved the corals. The more I fed that tank, I dosed ammonia, and I just started with urea. I don't know that urea really makes a difference. It does add a lot of nitrate to the tank because it cut my ammonia
Where are you
dose in
sourcing
half.
that?
Amazon, just using the ammonium bicarbonate off of Randy's threads. I suck at chemistry. I let Randy do that in Salem. Like
Yeah,
that's their thing. If they say it works and it's good, I'll listen to them and I'll try it. And I did. That's the only like new school thing I've done on that display. The ammonia works. Urea, I'm still kind of off the wall on it. I did do it because Salem was talking about a couple vendors, I think Underwater World or whatever, they're in Colorado. They have insane colors. Their corals look amazing and they're dosing urea. So I was like, you know what, I'll try it. And the only thing I've seen, like the colors maybe darkened a little bit, but my nitrates, when I was dosing like 60 milliliters of ammonia, because I had a hard time keeping nutrients in that display, because the corals are so big now. They absorb everything. Um, I was dosing 60 milliliters of ammonia, and my nitrates were still running at like 3 to 5. And then when I mixed in, so we're doing like, so it's like 25 grams of ammonia bicarbonate to 1 liter of RODI, 1,000 milliliters or whatever. So then the new mixture, going off of what Salem said, was 20 milligrams of ammonia bicarbonate to 5 milligrams of urea. I did that, and he's like, start out slow, cut your dose in half. He wrote the article on Reef Builders. That's where I got it from. And I did that, and my nitrates doubled instantly. So I don't know. I'm still up in the air about urea, if it's any better than just ammonia alone. Randy's been talking about, he doesn't know if it is, but it does work. And if you want nitrates, it's great for that. It will raise them. I don't know how much it's going to affect the colorization or anything of these corals, but I guess time will tell. It's an experiment every day. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I've battled nitrates since 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, same rock, same nitrate, same leaching,
Yeah.
same. I know where it's at, and I know why. And so, yeah, like that's why I'm kind of in the middle of like a reset right now. And what I think I'm going to do, right now is not ditch carbon source or bacteria source, but really lower my dosing frequency and amounts, and sort of model a little bit more into like a modified sunny
Yeah.
way of doing things. Like a little go air on less bacteria and more consistent carbon source. So that's kind of what I've decided to do. And I think that will definitely bring nitrates down, because I think what's happening is I'm battling my carbon source and I'm battling the two by doing them together linear every day. And so I'm going to sort of back off the bacteria a little bit and then just continue with a light
That's
carbon
pretty much
source.
how I had gotten a connection with Sunny X back in the day, was when it was vodka and MB7. And I was like, it works. And he had talked about it back then, and we started doing it, and we talked back and forth. And then he left the hobby, I think. I left the hobby for a long time and came back, and he's using Bacto Balance. I was dosing vodka on that display, not too much here and there by hand. And then I put Bacto Balance online with a doser. And then I started getting a little STN here and there. And I don't know, I can't say it is that, but I've heard other people claim the same thing. I don't know, like amino acids, like Acropower, for one, for whatever reason, creates dinos. I dosed that a few times and had, as soon as I do it, I get dino outbreak. And here comes the UV and everything, wipe it out. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't, like I say, I suck at chemistry. I know the numbers and I know what products to get to those numbers, and that's how I play the game. I don't follow the
So did
books.
you did you ditch the stones and
They're
Zeovit,
still in
or
there. They're still in there. I still have a, we can go look at it. It's a mess, but I'll show you. I was
okay?
using those for like the first year, and I was super lazy about shaking them. I still don't shake them. I haven't even changed them in a year. I don't even know if the damn reactor's still on. We'll see.
It, yeah, I mean, it probably still does its thing regardless. Because like I remember Alan had
So
had some in his system for a really
there
long
it
time.
is right there. Like, I haven't shook this thing now. It's still got a little bit of water coming out.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's in here. That's got the zeolites in there. I'm scared to shake it anymore because, like I said, I haven't changed it. I haven't shook it. But besides that, there ain't nothing in here but a skimmer. And then I got my
Yeah,
doser
you
right
would want
here.
to cap it if you removed it or anything like that. Just that's what I would do if I removed it. I try not to get any of that into the system. But yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. I mean, it's got to be low
it's like
like
a living
bacteria.
filter right now. It's definitely a living filter. There definitely is probably bacteria doing its thing down there.
There's got to
So
be.
yeah, I would yeah, I would probably, if I did remove it, I'd be like, all right, let's do this carefully, surgically. But no, man, that's incredible. Like to hear your story. Like I've battled the nitrates, and it's like it's why like when you hear about me testing, you hear me kind of poo poo on testing a lot, and how I really don't do it. And it's
I
because
don't.
every time I do it, I end up chasing something that I ultimately am better off not chasing. And sometimes, to me, I feel like, you know, it doesn't validate what my eyes are seeing. And that's where I've
That's
started
it.
like talking with Alan about like nutrients being in flux and how different organisms and things like that can kind of keep these things in a temporary holding position. And sometimes just depending on like when you're testing and what part of the day and what part of the metabolic cycle you're in can influence the outcome of that test. And when we're looking at my system being so small, I mean that that could change dramatically in a smaller volume. So I look at
Super
it like
easy.
that, and I just try not to. I try not to. These days, I try to just look at the what's going on with the system. I've always pretty much been an observing pusher, observation pusher. So everything I've always talked
I
about was
mean,
observation,
it
observation.
comes with experience. Yeah, you get to know your corals. Like there's certain tester corals. Like honestly, the last coral I lost in that display was a green slimer of all corals. I got some fancy high end tennis and they're growing great, but I lost a green slimer and everyone's like, "What happened?" Like I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. Like if one was gonna go, that would be the one to go.
So are your
Everybody's all
systems
about
not?
testing. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say your systems, are they like interconnected or are they separate
No,
at
no,
this
no.
point?
They're completely separate.
Yeah, that's really nice having that luxury, being able to have two
It
different.
is, and that's why I was so afraid to do it. I had the little one in there before, and I was like, "Oh well, I'll just do it," and it didn't do well. Like I said, it was only about 40-gallon system, and it started growing algae, and I had problems, and I'm like, "I'm not doing this." I'm like, "All right, I'm just gonna plumb it into the display," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm still not doing it." And then I stopped, and then I was like, "You know what? This tank came up from a friend of mine. It was actually belonged to Robin Lerner, who used to be the goalie for the Golden Knights. When he split town, whatever happened with that, he split town and left all his tanks in the house. And my buddy got a call because his business card was there, so he got everything cheap. And I ended up trading him some corals and got this tank. And now I got overflow. And then I was like, I'm never going to be able to match the display, but it's actually doing pretty well besides the dinos right now. But it's new. I put those.
It looks
It
both
was
of them look
doing
incredible, man.
great until I put these new frag racks in there. It was just a brand new surface. Like there's what
That's
12
all that
square
is. That's
feet. It is 12 square feet of brand new acrylic with no bacteria on it. So the dinos took over. It'll go away.
Yep. And
People
the way
freak
you
out.
handled it is exactly how I would handle it with using a flocculant spiked with
Yeah,
bacteria like calcium
bacteria.
carbonate and
Sonny
coat
preaches
coat them
that.
surface.
People think it's crazy. Like I wanted to. Obviously, this isn't a display, but I'm like, if I ever start another display, that's the first thing I'm going to do from day one is some calcium carbonate, the do-it-yourself coral snow, and mix bacteria in it and coat it. Like you can clearly see it coats the surfaces. All that white, all that fuzz on there is the calcium carbonate that's got the good
Yep. And
bacteria that
tomorrow,
it was soaked in for like 2 hours, and now it's coated that surface and it takes over where the bacteria will kill off them
yep.
dinos or whatever. I've never had a huge dino outbreak that was like super bad and not gonna work, but and one of these days I'm gonna set up a new display and do just that to see if it bypasses the uglies and all that fun stuff. I talk about it all the time, but I've never done it, so I can't back it up. But my theory is, I mean, Sonny's right. Use that and put the bacteria in and let it coat the surfaces.
Now he's got it figured out, man. Like
He does.
you know, post cleanup. I mean, it's kind of I've modeled it for years. I've been I use slurries. I'm a big fan of. That's how Alan and I sort of started connecting in the beginning. Was I would be mixing these like crazy ass concoctions like him, and then he came up with
Yeah,
the concoction, which was uh, a well thought out food. I
yeah,
mean, like, but it's beyond that, and we kind of dove
it
into that a
is
little
now.
bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
No,
it's
when Sonny
incredible
came up
stuff.
with that, then I was like, before Alan had came out with it, I started adding a few things because my phosphates were so low. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll throw some reefroids in there and raise the phosphates.
Mm-hmm.
And I started seeing feeding responses from the SPS like he gets. And I'm like, okay. And then I just kept adding stuff and adding stuff. And then I got lazy. Like, I don't want to put all that work into it. So I stopped dosing it. Have I noticed a difference? I don't know. But maybe it built up the biome because I don't know much about that. And that might have from everything that I was feeding besides just the corals. I don't know. I suck at chemistry. I just look
Yeah,
at the corals
it's
and I
more
know the
intuition,
numbers.
man.
It is. I know the numbers and how to get there with what products, and that's what I roll with. I try to keep it simple. Both these systems run on calc. This one, the frag system out here in the garage, this one right now is just topping off with calc. That's all I do. I do have all for reef on there and NK, which I don't ever dose, but I put it on here because this tank's doesn't have enough coral. Miracle Grow is obviously ammonia, but that's the only thing that's growing on that's dosing into this tank, and it's starting to grow already, and it's only a month old. And everybody always says, oh, you got to have coralline algae, you got to have this, you got to have that, you can't keep SPS. It's not true. And I
No,
wish more
that
people weren't
lends
scared of
into the well, it's a holobiont bacteria. As long as you can keep a system in place, and you're doing like exactly what you need to be doing, like the fact that you hit it with that that calcium carbonate snow
yeah.
is ideal. And by tomorrow, when the lights knock out tonight, you'll see in the morning. I guarantee you'll see less bubbles,
Oh,
and
there's
and if you
already
do,
a huge difference from yesterday to today. That's what I was telling you about. I was like, you know what? I could scrub this tank and make it perfect like everybody does on every Instagram post, but this is real reefing. Like, let's keep it real. This is what's going on, and this is how you fix it. I mean, it's not hard. There's so many, like, what is it, Dr. Mac or whatever has that Facebook support group, and there's a lot of good advice on there, but there's a lot of bad advice on there too. That's one of the biggest problems with social media. That's probably my gripe for the week is social media. Like, fuck, man, it's bad.
yeah. Are you now when are you referencing any specifics like or are you kind of lumping them all together when you say that? Like are you talking about forums too or just more
The
like into the IG
forums,
realm?
no, the IG realm's pretty bad. I think
Yeah, I mean it's
a lot of it's influencers. Like, I'm not
oh
huge on that.
god.
Yeah, they give it
Yeah.
they give the hobby a bad name. Like, if you're gonna
Well,
influence and promote shit, at least say you're getting paid to do it. Like, don't just go on there like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing. Like, I ain't sponsored by nobody. I'm not paid by. I don't get discounts from anybody. I buy all this shit like everybody else. I pay regular prices at bulk resupply or local fish store or Amazon because that's typically the cheapest, and just roll with it. Like, I know I push the Meridians a lot. I'm not sponsored. They don't give me any discounts. They don't do anything. They work. They work. On that display in there, because here, let me show you. And I don't know if Jackson's still on here or SDS Drew, but I joined the club, Drew. We got the metal highlights and the Meridians going on this tank now.
oh
This
wow.
blue 250 watt. I'm still running the Phoenix 14K bulbs for now. I have a little stash of them, but they'll be gone pretty soon. They're not really making the double endings, so I'm probably going to have to make new reflectors. I have an old school one over here, the Luminarcs that everybody used to make by themselves. I found one that somebody made. It's beat to shit, but I'm a fabricator. I have the templates, so now I can make these new ones and then run the radiums if that's what I want to do because they're producing those bulbs again. We'll see. I do like the
Yeah,
metal
I
highlights. I've always missed them ever since I took them off my display, but my tank really didn't skip a beat putting those meridians on there, and that's what I was impressed about.
yeah, I definitely I've been a T5 user for a long time, so I tend to lean on them. I've pretty much don't really like I've said before to friends and things that are in the hobby. I've said, if you were to sort of look at a lot of the tanks around the world, you'd see that there's a lot of them, especially back in the day, maybe not so much these days, but a lot of them were lit with T5s, and I really enjoyed them for the ability to take all these different spectrums and sort of intermingle them together
They
and
are.
work them together.
I ran those for a little bit. I just didn't. I, I'm a huge fan of shimmer. I love the shimmer with the halides and even the LEDs. And I know some people aren't a fan of that. And it's crazy to me because that big red table I have in the display in there that I gave one to my buddy and his tank's T5 lit, and that thing is like neon red in his tank. My tank is purple with gold polyps. It is glowing bright red over there.
Hmm.
And to me, one of the biggest factors in colors is lighting. Like I've grown so much stuff under halides, it looks dull, it looks drab. Throw it under an LED, it still does, but give it a couple months under these LEDs, and the color's insane. That's why I switched on the display. I always had the halides. I got it grown. It's full. All right, well, let's go for the colors. So I switched over to LEDs, but they're still growing like crazy, which I didn't think was going to happen, but it's still growing. It didn't really skip a beat at all, and the colors are way more insane now with the LEDs than they ever will be with the 14K metal highlight.
Yeah,
It's
those
different.
Phoenix, man. I had a 250 watt. Do you remember the Aquamatic? Remember
I do.
those little tiny units? They were only like, yeah, they're like foot long. They're like perfect. You could suspend them on these
Yeah,
cables. They looked so freaking sleek. I had one of those over top of a little 40-gallon cube back in the day that was like 1 inch acrylic. It was a hot rod of a little tank. And man, it looks so
they
insane
were. They
with
do.
a Phoenix 14K bulb in it. Oh my God, dude. Just
My favorites back in the day
standalone.
were the XM bulbs. I had the XM 10K and I think it was a 15K. I love them bulbs. Everyone was using the radiums and the Phoenix. I didn't run them back in the day. I always ran the XM bulbs, but when I got back, I got these obviously used because I was setting up that display and I'm like, I need lights. And I didn't want to go drop $5,000-6,000 on lights, so I picked these up for like $200, and they had a couple bulbs with them and the ballast, and that's what I grew that tank with. I mean, if you want to reef on a budget, you can do it. You can totally do it. It
Oh,
only
yeah, I mean,
gets
I've already
expensive
shown
as you
that.
want. It only gets as expensive as you want and as hard as you want if you overthink it. Like, don't overthink it. Simple. Use calc, keep your pH elevated, your corals will grow.
Yeah,
SPS.
I mean, it's
I can't say that for everything.
and it's you're proving it with your system. And again, this is what I'm all about. Like I like to communicate with people, and I just like to see, because your system started one way and it's evolved to where it is now, and like you're still not skipping a beat, and really it has nothing to do with like what program you're using. It has to do with the person that's running the program and
Yeah,
them staying consistent. Really, it's what it boils down to.
it
And
does.
so
And
that's
so many people talk about, oh, it's got to be stable. It's got to be stable. No, I don't play that rule either. Like my alk, because I top off with calc, my alkalinity will change 2 DKH in a day. Depends on if it's hot or cold because my skimmer draws from outside. It jumps around so much, it doesn't skip a beat. It's like, I feel like the corals are more resilient that way because they're not used to this perfect, stable condition. I don't know. Like I said, I had those two calc overdoses and I didn't lose a single piece. I can't show you the pictures on here, but if anybody follows me on Reef to Reef, they've seen them. Like my tank was pure white. My pH was 9.6. My alk dropped from like 11 down to 4.3. Didn't lose a single piece. I didn't panic. I didn't do anything. I did a water change. I changed like 40 gallons and I just let it come back up naturally and everything fine. Nothing skipped a beat. Even in these grow out contests. Again, you guys should join those. You'll be in more tune with your tank. It's fun. Adam.
yeah, definitely,
Gotta
man. I
give a
mean, like
shout out to my
I
boy.
would
The Cops Cali one I'm in right now. That's over on
Oh
Humblefish.
yeah.
I'm big on there. The Werewolf is one of his new ones. Obviously got Reef to Reef. I'm part of the Reef squad over there. I love helping people. And then all the battle crews, we're the battle crew members. There's me, Jason, Marshall. I'm gonna call him Schmidt because his name's M. Schmidt, and Shane. We help Adam out with all them grow outs, and it's a good time, man. And it really keeps you in tune with your tank. Anybody that wants to get SPS or something, I would say join in. He makes them very affordable. There's even deals if you want to do the battle boxes or whatnot, add-ons, but it just, it gets you to look at your tank every day and get really in tune with this coral. Like, okay, it's not looking good today. Maybe I should change the water. Or I'm a big, huge fan of changing water. I don't like people that let it ride forever. I've always changed water and I always will. It's simple. It's like the duct tape of life. Like, it's if something's going wrong, change your water. 90% of the time, it cures it. Not overnight, but it will stop the problem and start curing it. Like yesterday, I changed the water in here because of the dinos. And I'm like, oh, that's the worst thing you can do. You're adding fresh elements. They're going to blow up. Nah, they're not. I've never had that problem.
Well, you get a lot of the parroting and stuff like that online, and that's probably what frustrates you. I imagine about it did me for a while. I kind of dropped off Reef to Reef for a long time and didn't really want to talk about much about my systems there. And it was like kind of redirecting most people to this place here, and that's when I
Yeah.
really started building this channel. And it was really, but then I full circled back, and I even have been giving Rev a lot of like love and thoughts and thanking him and stuff again for the platform itself and the ability to communicate and connect and everything else. And I just
Yes.
think it's important to pay respect and everything else when when that platform is there. And so I just
Yes.
I've come full circle back to what this is truly is the sharing aspect. And at that point, I kind of wanted to
There is, of course.
step
There's
into
a
the garden
lot
world.
of hate for these websites anymore because everything's on social media. Let's go on Facebook and get the answer, or Instagram. But I'm not really
Yeah, I don't
on
even
Reef
have
Central
Facebook,
anymore.
dude.
I got banned over there. But going on Humble Fish, if you need any answers about a fish, that's where you want to go. You want to know about corals and fish, Reef to Reef. I mean, there's just an unlimited database of questions and answers, and a lot of it's repeated. And I know a lot of the old school guys have been around for a long time. They're not on there no more. If they are, they don't talk about it because, and I've talked to a few of them. They're like, "Oh, I'm tired of repeating myself. Like, I don't. People can just look it
Hmm.
up. We read books, we did, but information has changed from 20 years ago, even 5 years ago till today. Even since I've been back, I've only been back like 3 years. It
Hmm.
has progressed so much in this hobby. Like the ICP testing had just came out. I didn't even know what the hell that was. It was a couple wrestlers that were in a rap group last time I heard ICP, which was Insane Clown Posse. I didn't know anything about these tests. I still haven't done one, and I probably won't because I even if I panicked and like my tank was crashing and I sent one in, it's going to be too late by the time I get an answer. I just
Well, let me ask
with
you a question.
experience, you look at your corals and you can try. If all else fails, change the water. It's going to cure it 90% of the time. It's
Would
simple.
you take your alkalinity test and put it in a bottle and put it in a box and let it sit in your room, maybe throw it around a few times, kick it around a bunch of times, let your kids play soccer ball with it, open it up a week later and ride on that with your result based on your test?
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't.
I
And
know.
no, and again, it's nothing. I'm not trying to poop on ICP
I'm
because
not.
yeah,
They have their
I
place for
mentioned it
sure.
before too. I had every opportunity to do free tests for the amount of time I worked with Aquaforest and stuff like that, and I just refused, and they couldn't understand why I wouldn't want to take the tests, and I just no, I'm not interested.
I'd rather
I
spend that money
remember.
on a coral.
Well, like I said, I could even get them for free. It's just I
Yeah.
didn't. I wasn't even interested then. And I guess maybe because it is sort of that old school kind of like you were mentioning in the very very beginning of the show. It really reminds me of like Jake Adams said many years ago with Chris Meckley. They were live and they were doing a one of their sessions, if you will. And I remember him saying, like, bro, if it's there, you're good. And I've always kind of had that same mentality. But when I heard Jake sort of echo what my intuition has always been telling me, which is if it's there, it's good. Like, so why do we want to go to these great extents? And how can we even quantify what the ratios truly are? We can't.
Can't. It's a
And for
guessing game.
it is, and it's just as much of a crapshoot with knowledge of what your result on an ICP test is as it is just blindly dosing. To me, and okay, I'm just going to say that, and maybe some people might not like that I said that, but I have always, since the beginning, I used freaking Salifert hard trace. And to me, if I use Salifate hard and soft trace and just use those two things, and I use either Kalkwasser or A and B or a small calcium reactor, whatever, that's all I ever I just that's all I ever used. And I didn't use
Yeah.
it with any frequency of dosing. Like I didn't use it like, oh well, I'm going to use it based on directions. I've always said, you know what? I'm going to take half of half. And that's what I dose. So to this
Yeah.
day, when I use Tropic Marin's what is it, the AK plus or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I use those, but I mean, I use them once a week, and I use it in a half of what you're supposed to use daily. I just want
I'm
a
using
touch of
that
it.
on the frag tank. I'm not using it on the display because I dose that tank's ran strictly on calc and alpha reef. That tank runs on 200 milliliters a day of alpha reef, which is a lot. The only reason I'm using the calc is for the pH benefit and the cost. Like these things are not cheap. They're like 75, $80. I can burn this 1,600 grams up so quick, but
Well, dude, your
it
display alone.
works. It works. And there was a guy, he's not around no more, and he used to say, "Oh, all for Reef's only for the noobs," and it's a joke. Anybody that follows me and a couple other people on Reef to Reef know that I always say I'm an all for Reef noob. I'm a noob because I was using all for Reef. It just works. Sonny was using it, and I'm like, "Are you serious? That dude has a tank like that in 1 year? Like, what the hell's going on?" I got some, and it's so simple. It is. It's for noobs. Like, it's super simple. As Randy said, don't dose it based off the calcium like they say in the directions. Dose it off of your alk. That's what I do. I topped off that tank, was just running on straight calc, and then the calc couldn't keep up. So then I started dosing alpha reef, and I adjust my alkalinity with that alpha reef, and that's all that tank runs on. I don't dose anything else. Well, ammonia is dosing ammonia and a urea right now, but I don't know that I'm going to keep up with that or not. The verdict's not in on that one yet.
Well, you'll it's definitely it's not harming anything. I mean,
It's
again,
not.
uh I'm looking at your both systems, even though you like, earlier today you shot me a text and you're like, dude, something about the dynamo, and it's like, dude, you can't even tell. And I mean, like, yeah, no harm, no foul.
Yeah,
Like
no,
your
you
your
can see
colors
them
are
in
killer.
here. I mean, they're brown. They're right there. They're all over the place. But I could have scrubbed this and made like an Instagram post like everybody does. But this is real reefing, man. Like it's a part of life. It's shit we all got to deal with, and knowing how to like. I don't mind this. I actually like it because you know what? When I beat it, then I'm that much better, and I know what to do next time. That's how you learn. Like live and learn. That's how I've always played the book.
Hmm.
I'm a fabricator. Like I build something off of a picture. They give me a picture and here, build it. There's no directions, there's no instruction book. Like you got to figure it out. And that's just always been my mentality. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's something to be said about stability. I mean, I feed a half a cube of mysis to 4 fish every day. Right now, I have 4 fish left, and that. It started with 8. They whittled their thing down, to 4 fish. The biome is dialed in for a 25-gallon, under a year old mixed reef system. I'm pretty stoked at what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I feed once a day, half a
More
cube
power
of
to you.
mysis. Yeah, it's challenging, dude, but
Those
a
little
half a
tanks are
cube a
super
day, and then
challenging.
it is and it isn't. But back to what you were saying earlier about I've had my alk on this little system. I've had it go from 5.1 up to 11.9 in the matter of, I don't know, a month. And when I've decided to test, I don't even test. I mean, I've been testing alkalinity daily, but I haven't. I only tested alkalinity like every 2 to 3 weeks. And again,
Yeah.
I look at the corals daily, though. I mean, I study each coral. I look at what's going on in the system, and I try to spend at least a good 15, 20 minutes going over the reef with my eyes, top downs, things of
Yeah.
this nature. And other than that, it's just consistency, and it's not stability. I
It's
just try to
not.
be
It's not
consistent with my
stability.
inputs.
That's it.
I just try to be
Like I say,
consistent.
join one of these grow outs and you'll see. You'll be so much more in tune with your tank. Like just the challenge. Like, okay, I want to be the best. I want to be the king. Just to get that title. I haven't won shit. I actually did win one on Humble Reef, but Jason and a couple other guys are always kicking ass on Reef to Reef. It's fun. Like I love the challenge. And joining these grow outs, it's every day you come home, you look at it, okay, it looks good. Oh, it doesn't look happy. Let's move it to a different spot. Let's get some more flow. Let's and then it's such a learning experience just from growing one of those corals because you know what? There's 40 or 50 other people, and let's see where can I place in there. And now that Adam's in them's even funner. Like if you can beat Adam, Adam's the king of SPS. Let's see if we can do this. It's fun. Win or lose, it's fun. I mean, you learn so much doing it. It's a really good time.
Yeah, I was wanting to get in one of those years ago, and I had something happen to me personally that I couldn't
Yeah.
connect with it. But it's all good. I feel like eventually I might want to go get involved in one of them, but I'm not going to do that with this system because the ability to grow corals in this small box, I haven't even hit that stride, where you hit,
It's
you know what I'm
hard.
talking about. When you hit
Oh
that
yeah.
stride where you're like in a like active growing stage, and I mean, everything's fine. I mean, everything's doing well, but I'm not having like that type of growth that I would like to see. And I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with lighting per se. I think it's just the less than a year old. When it gets to around a year and a half old, I think that's personally for me. I think that's when things will have kind of like anchored in. But
Is I think that's more of that biome that we don't really know too much about, but now we have testing for it. I'm gonna probably send one of those in just to see what it says. I don't even know what 99% of those bacterias are, but they kind of break it down and tell you, this is good or this is average or this is above average in normal tanks because that's how they're judging this. But it'd be fun to see that. The ICPs, I don't really care, and a lot of people see it like on Reef to Reef. I'm really strong about the Reef moonshiners. Like I'm not anti moonshine, but I challenge them. Like, why should I do this? Why should I dose? Why should I have to send the ICP in every month and dose all these different elements? What difference is it going to make? That's all I want to know. Is my take going to grow better? Am I going to get better colors? What's going to be the difference from what I got going on right now? And a lot of them take offense to it. Some of them don't. They're just like, yeah, no, I get it. But change my mind. I would love to try it. If my tank's going to get that much better and that's what I need to do, then change my mind. Like, but right now my
I
colors are
think some
good.
of it
My
you can.
growth is exceptional. It's hard. It's hard to say. I'm not opposed to it. Not at all. Like I might try it. I might try it on this rag tank just to see if there's really a difference. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm more of like, so I've evolved to become a hybrid reefer. I don't I have no brand loyalty.
Yeah.
I am only loyal based on you know really based on results. It's what it truly boils down to me is like what I feel works best for me over my years of reefing, and I tend to stick with a lot of the same things that tend to work for me. And that's just my style. But we all have our different takes on it, But yeah, that's mine. I liken this is sort of like a Zeovit-ish sort of like I'm running a Zeovit tank, or like not saying that anyone out there's doing that, but to me sometimes these things can get almost a little bit too I don't want to say the word cultish, but like it can get to this like
Yeah.
clubbish kind of
Yeah. No, cliques.
elitist
There's
mentality.
cliques.
Well, like an elitist sort of mentality. And to me, like I want this, and I'm glad you're here because you've helped to reinforce a lot of really my style of what I've tried to educate a lot of people that come to this channel on is like, look, I took this, I gave my reef away. First of all, I just like literally except the hardware, gave it away, got pennies on the dollars for everything I got rid of. And I had this
Yeah.
little freaking tank laying around and it's scratched to all hell. And I said, screw it. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to get some scratches out of it. And I bought a little Petco 10-gallon sump, and I've got a little Bubble Magus $100 skimmer. And I mean, like literally, the return pump is the all-in-one return pump. That's
Yeah.
and I'm just going with a little bit less head pressure. And like, dude, when you really go through this little system, there's nothing in it.
And you're probably having more fun than you ever had.
I'm rededicated to the guy that pulls the flashlight out at night and looks for
That's
crazy
what I'm
weirdness,
saying. Like
you know.
when it becomes a chore, it's not fun no more. If I have to send in tests every other month and I have to do this and this and this, like I'm a lazy reefer, man. My fish have jobs. Those two dosing pumps have jobs. They dose the ammonia and the all for reef, and I don't have to do anything.
See,
I
I
have to
I
clean
beg
the
to
glass.
differ. I
That's
don't think
it.
that means you're lazy. I think what it means is you've actually learned.
Yeah,
See, that's I want
I'm
to
lazy
make sure that
now.
people hear you properly because there's no way when you look into your reef, you're not lazy. What it is you've evolved, and you've
Yeah,
evolved to a place where you can say, I can do this now in a way that I can balance life. I can balance all the things that I want to balance and run this reef to where I'm not a slave to my reef. That doesn't mean you're lazy. It just
exactly.
means that you've got evolved to a place where you can enjoy it for what it's worth. And I think there's something to be said for that.
There is. I mean, it gets. I don't know. Again, it's only as complicated as you make it. See if it's better now. There.
Yeah, but see,
Even these,
the
like
fish are oh my god, look at there.
these are the only softies
Woo!
I got in the tank or some jawbreakers. That was a single one
Oh
about a
my,
year ago. I don't know. There's like 40 of them now. They spread
oh
like crazy.
my
They
goodness
love
gracious.
SPS quality water, and everyone's like, "How do you grow those? They're so slow growing." No, these things
Oh
grow
my
like
god.
crazy.
Man, you just made my heart drop like a million beats, dude. I've been addicted to those things for
Oh, they're
whoo,
cool. I had one
they're
with
so pretty.
purple, and it actually floated away. I don't know where the hell it went. They're showing the greens, but I haven't. Only one I saw with the purple, and it actually came off the rock, and I never seen it again. And I actually found it last week. It was inside my skimmer, bleached
You
out.
gotta be kidding me.
It somehow made it through the overflow and into the skimmer, and it
Oh
was
shit,
clear as
man.
can be. You see it
Oh,
now.
that is so freaking bizarre,
It's
dude. Like
clearing it
that's the
up.
only thing I ever yeah, those things used to piss me off how they would just float.
So, yeah, it's starting to clear up now. I had that cow sucked up earlier, so you couldn't really see through the end view, but that
Yeah,
yeah.
look at
It's
that.
so,
What clam is that? Is that a crocea? Is that a
yeah, Procia. I got it from a local
beautiful?
guy. It's actually looks way better from the top down. It looks so much better under the metal highlights. Like I said, this tank was growing under metal highlights the first 18 months, but the last I don't know, it's been like 8 months since I switched to these Meridians. Nothing skipped a beat.
No.
I'm
You
still
know,
doing
if
this
you
thing.
fought,
These things love ammonia, so if you ever want to grow an anemone, just feed your tank ammonia. That
yeah,
thing's been
dude.
dead twice. First time it went through a gyre and it shredded to nothing. I didn't even know it survived, but it ended up being about the size of a quarter. And then there's 4 clowns in this tank. I know you're not supposed to have four, but I got four. They were actually all siblings. There's one there. I don't know where her boy. Oh, he's up there. So I got a black false, and then I got Storm over here, and then I got another pair over here. So when they were little, and I put them in here, these two, he's actually spawn and lay eggs all the time now. But when I first put them in here with that anemone, it was about the size of a baseball, and they loved it to death. All 4 of them took over and just beat that thing to death, and it was gone for like 2 months. I didn't see it, and then all of a sudden, I saw a little red speck under the blue lights, and this thing now is about 12 to 15 inches. It's huge. I mean, the tank's 20
Wow.
foot tall, and it's half the size. It's killing my Ora Hawkins. It's taking out the Slimer, and I'm like, you know what? It's just part of the game. I don't even care. It's cool. The clowns got a home. They love it. So it stays.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, it's funny because like we're talking about clowns, and there was a guy named Izzy. This guy was like a clown breeder in Orlando many, many moons ago. And I remember going over to visit him, and I bought a pair of clowns off of him. He was breeding and stuff, and they were like a real nice pair of snowflakes that he had bred. And he was showing me how he was isolating, the females, and he had all these different females in different tanks and shit. It was really cool, interesting. And he just said, he goes, Perry, that's life on the reef.
It
Because he
is.
was telling me a story like that, and it's just always stuck with me. And I said, I'm going to carry that on for you, Izzy, if you're all right with that. And he's like, please do. He's like, I said, all right, for now on, I said, whenever I have one of those situations, I'm just going to say, man, that's just life on the reef, dude.
That's the best way to take it. Like, don't stress it out. Like, people, it's supposed to be fun. This hobby's supposed to be fun. When it becomes stressful and a job, like I say, a chore with changing water. By the way, everybody should have a mixing station and just run a hose like I do. I can change 65 gallons in here in less than 5 minutes. Drain it real quick and pumps right up from that station out in the garage. It's not a chore no more. Like, I enjoy doing a water change. Everything's going to be perked up in the morning. The polyps are out. Everything's happy. It's not a chore, so you enjoy it. When something becomes a chore, like if you got to lug in the 5 gallon buckets of water all day, and like, yeah, dude, that sucks. I wouldn't change water either. Make your life easy.
Yeah.
Invest a little time or money and make your life easier and enjoy it.
Well, you can put the energy in the beginning, it's like, and then you're enjoying the fruits of your labor at this point, and the fruits of your labor as far as learning. And as you've learned what works, and by making these modifications, and the fact that you're a fabricator and you know how to build things, certainly is going
I
to
do.
be advantageous for someone building a massive system like you've built. I mean,
That was
it's
always my
absolutely
thing.
insane.
That was always my thing, was just building tanks. Like, there's 4 or 5 local fish stores here in town. Like, I built so many of their big frag tanks, and I built one system was like 36 tanks into one for all the inverts. Like, each one waterfalled into the other ones. That's my jam. That's what I do. And that's probably what I'm gonna start doing here full time. Like Crusoe was talking about my job, and I'm like, I'm over it. I'm tired of building somebody else's dream and working 7 days a week. Like, I'm over it. Talk to
It's a new
Mama. She's
age we're
kind of
heading
over
into,
her
man.
job, so I'm gonna probably go into start doing like maintenance. And my ultimate goal is to open up a fish store here in town. That's what we're gonna do. That's where I want to go with this. I got a passion for it. I love it. If I can start designing and building systems, that's what I like to do. That's what I've always liked to do. I just got good at growing corals now because I wasn't changing tanks every 3 or 4 months. So now I'm more focused on growing corals, but my passion's in building systems. That's what I want to do. So that's what we're gonna do and see if it takes off. And if it does, then I'll be doing it full time.
Yeah,
If
dude. I
Crusoe
mean,
ever stops in and watches this.
Hey, the key word is passion here, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Like, like for me, I love working out. I love eating healthy, and I love growing my own food. I'm into herbs. I'm into the microbiome of the soil. I'm into the microbiome of the gut. And I found the combination
I'm
of
just
correlation
learning that.
between.
Yeah. I mean that shit's it's cool to learn and it's intriguing and like I want to learn more about it. So I've been doing a lot of research on that too.
Yeah, it's just something I've been reefing a long time. I've been doing all these things a long time. Like gardening started about 2 years ago, and I started getting into permaculture and regenerative, where like nothing. You mimic a forest, and you would really dig it from the way the simplicity style of reef keeping you utilize. Regenerative farming is simply allowing things to fall and chop and drop and letting everything
Yeah.
decay back down. So the nutrients are absorbed into the plants as they die off or leaves drop, whatever. It just goes back down and
Yeah.
replenishes back
Repurpose it.
down into the soil. And so it's sort of opened my eyes into the world of like, okay, well, maybe I can make some of these applications cross over from regenerative farming into regenerative reefing. And that's some of the things that I'm kind of like my mind's been spinning on lately is like, how can I try to avoid? Okay, I love the idea of okay, water changes and what they bring, but when I think of water, I just think of like, well, what can be going on with the water that makes it so needing to be changed? What could that we can't render at this point, or absorb, or what have you? And so to me, I'm like, what if we could come up with a concept of zero water changes? What
They're
what
out
what if
there
we
and there's a
could?
lot of people successful with that. Would their tanks be better if they change water? I think so, but they don't. And you know what? I had a tank back in the day that I didn't change the water in for like 2 years. I was carbon dosing with vodka and using MB7 and it was great. Like, could it have been better if I changed the water? I don't know because I never changed the water. This comeback here, I'm pretty strict about changing my water. Anytime I got an issue, if something starts peeling, doesn't look good, change my water, it normally cures it. Most of the time, it cures it. I know Salem talks a lot about DOCs, and now they have testing with Triton or whoever can do that kind of DOC testing now and tell you because that's like one of the biggest things that Salem was saying was killing the reefs was the DOC levels were through the roof. And like they always said back in the day, the answer to pollution is dilution. Like change your water.
Mhm. It
I don't
is,
know.
but it's like to me, it seems like all right, like where we are right now with technology, it seems to me like there there's got to be a way to take that water and remediate it, right? Okay, that wastewater.
Yeah.
To me, there's got to be a way that could be remediated and then recycled back in somehow. Now, okay, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know how.
It's possible.
Okay, but to me, it just when I think of well,
I
when
mean,
you just think of
the people at the water waste treatment plants. I mean, that's what they're doing. Essentially, they're adding a bunch of bacteria. They're cleaning it up and they're reselling it to us. I mean,
that's
there's got to be
absolutely
a way
what's
to
going
do
on.
it. Yeah, there's got to be a way to do it. I don't know what's involved. Or like I say, I suck at chemistry, but yeah, I mean, especially here in Vegas because we're in a drought. So 100% of our water, anything that comes out of the shower, sinks, anywhere, is all recycled, goes straight back to Lake Mead. As everybody knows, that thing's down like 100 and something feet. That's our only water source out here. So we have to be pretty strict. There's not very much grass out here. The golf course has got them, but the majority of us have rocks and they pay us. They pay us good money to take the grass out and put rocks in and recycle everything out here. We have to. If we don't, this city's grown so fast. Like I say, I was born here in the mid 70s. I was born here, and even in the 90s, the population here was only like 250,000, and now it's almost 3 million. Like this place exploded, and everybody needs water. I mean, it's a part of life, so it's really big and strict out here about recycling and even, you know, using all the RODI, I know we waste a lot of water with that. A lot of people use it for their plants. I haven't done that. Like I say, mine recycles and goes straight back to the lake. So it's repurposed. It's not being wasted. I got to pay for it, but it's not being wasted. So that's good.
Yeah, I use my skim. Skim goes into the compost, help to activate. There's a lot of microbiology, like in your skimmer, a lot of
Yeah.
bacteria and shit like that. And man, it supercharges the compost. So, I use it, and I try to.
I've
Uh,
been
eh,
been really
Go ahead.
curious for that. Like I've dumped it out in my front yard because obviously, like I say, everything is rocks, and I've dumped it on weeds. Like, oh, the salt's gonna kill it. No, it almost fertilizes them, and then they
Oh,
grow
it
back
totally
twice as
does.
bad. Salt
Yeah,
water or
it's
not.
totally a fertilizer, 100%. And the salt content. The soil has a way of working that out, when the worms and all that stuff do their bit. It's
Yeah,
all mediated in the soil. But yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of where I would like to see the hobby eventually go. But I mean, in the meantime, I've just been tripping out watching, guys like you who are on a bigger scale that have some mind blowing tanks. I just wanted to stay in the hobby to a lesser extent to stay relevant and to still be continued part of it, and I felt like, well, I got to keep a reef, and I got to have a decent enough looking reef to, be out here and in this realm. And I've always believed it's like kind of like what you show. And again, I'm gonna go to the guys that are putting it up and showing it, and you certainly are doing that, man. And
and that's
I
like
think
I say,
your
I
system
could
looks
have clipped
incredible.
that dead corals out of there. I could have cleaned all the dinos out. Like everything's it's not. I don't care what anybody posts on there. We all got struggles. How you deal with them's another story, but it's just a part of reefing. My tank's not flawless. It looks like it in the pictures, but if we really zoomed in and looked at shit, there's all kinds of problems in there. But the overall picture, it looks amazing. People come
Yeah, I
over.
mean that's a hundred
Anybody that's
percent.
not a reefer doesn't know what they're looking at. Like they're just like, oh my god, everything in here is real. I'm like, yeah, that's all alive. They're like, really? Those aren't decorations? I'm like, no, that's real coral. A lot of people's never seen it. That's kind of how I got into the hobby. And like my mom always had saltwater tanks my entire life growing up. And then she did freshwater and went back to saltwater. She had kind of like a fowler with lionfish and triggers, the killers, nothing reef. And then I was at my buddy Jeremy's house and he had a reef. And I was like, man. And I kind of had the basics down from my mom with the saltwater tank, helping her growing up and got into reefing. Just never looked back. Like I say, I wasn't as successful as I was today back in the day because I was more about the building and the innovating and just I was always evolving, always changing tanks, always wanted something cool. Like the drop off tank, it looked great. It was cool as shit. Wasn't really that ethical. It sucked. I seen the changes people made to them today. Would I do it again? Maybe. But right now, I'm happy with what I got. Just leave it
Well, you
alone.
definitely have
Let it
room to
go.
grow too. I mean, your
Oh yeah,
display is pretty full,
it
but
is.
your frag system, you've got a lot more room in there.
Yeah,
It's cool because I like the fact that you've got a lot of the classics, and you're not hung up on named corals. I
I'm
mean,
not.
to me, you just look across
90%
the
of that
reef.
tank's battle corals, and then I got a couple like the Ora Hawkins, the Oral Pearlberry, the Ora Frog Skin, PC Rainbow, Strawberry Shortcake. That's always been my favorite
Hmm.
acro, and the rest of that tank's battle corals. No, I got a Miyagi and a Becker Tort. Sorry, those are old school. Adam actually just sent me the Oregon Tort, which I've been looking for forever. It's the only one I didn't have, but that whole tank's battle corals. Love that
Yeah,
guy.
I've been impressed with Adam for years, and just can't speak highly enough about what he brings to that wonderful world of Acropora. And you know,
Yeah.
he's like, like if I'm going to order Acropora, he's one of the people that I'm going to be leaning on. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
used to be Tim, um, and
Thurman.
I don't know if, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff from Tim and from Adam, and I don't know what's going on with Tim anymore. But
I heard he had a pretty bad crash. I don't know how his systems are doing. Somebody's like, "Oh, clouds in Vegas are rare." Yeah, no, it's been raining for a week here. It's pretty bad.
dude, that's crazy.
We've gotten more
Um,
rain this last week than we have probably all year.
yeah, but
Some
I
big
bet you
storms.
welcome that to cool things
Oh, we
off a
do.
little bit.
It's mid-November. We're still out in shorts and flip flops. It's been 80 degrees every day, which is not normal here. Not at this time of the year. Normally by Halloween it starts raining and it gets cold, but it's still in the mid 80s. Like right now it's only like 65, but it feels amazing.
Yeah, we've had the same weather pattern in Central Florida for like 2 weeks, and it looks like it's still another 10 days out. I don't see anything changing where it's 60, 63 at night
Yeah.
and 80, 81 during the day. And it's like, dude, like I love it's absolutely insane how beautiful the weather is here in Central Florida right now. It's just been gorgeous. So I'm just blessed to, the garden is looking insane. Everything's happy. It's just a wonderful time of year, heading into the winter time. And I got the spring
Yeah.
coming up. Yeah, I got a lot of work coming ahead of me in the next 6 months, man. I have 16 to 20 yards of mulch coming in that I'm gonna have to spread all over my yard, which is like an entire dump truck load. And yeah, I'm gonna do it all by hand, and it'll be the third time I've done this, man. So yeah, it'll keep me busy for a month, and that'll set me off, man. But like it's my way of kind of eliminating a little bit of the food bill, and I tend to lean on mostly plant-based foods because of uh,
Yeah, no,
inflammation
that's
and
cool.
yeah, just shit like that. But no, I mean the Reef looks incredible. You're doing a hell of a job, man. Just keep up the
Thank you.
tremendous work you're doing, bro. I'm a avid fan of you, and while I might not be on your thread as much, I don't really spend as
A
much time
lot
as
of
I'd like
people
to.
aren't. And it's kind of discouraging. I'm like, man, I go on there and I was posting everything and I'm not one for likes or views or anything, but it's like no responses. I'm like, does anybody even look at this shit? Like, why am I wasting my time posting it up?
I think that was frustrating for me for a little while, and now like to me I'm getting more fun. Like I have more fun out of seeing. It used to be about my reefs and stuff, and I was like zoning in my own world. But now I'm like I get more of a kick out of like what I'm doing now by looking at your tank or like looking at Rich's setup last week and
Yeah,
Alan's the
it's
week
got some really
before.
nice shit.
Yeah, man, and like tying it all back into sort of like this nostalgia with the Reef Central days and bringing
Yep.
forums into it. And I really think that's why I wanted to like give a shout out, to Humble Fish and Reef to Reef, like
Yeah.
to keep those platforms going. I think, it's important that we make sure to give them the love they deserve every now and again, because, if those platforms go away, um, now we're going to
A
be
lot
excluded
of
to, just show and tell. And I don't mind show and tell, but to me, like, I don't know, man. Like, I want to hear the story. I want to read the write up, the journal. And I've
yeah.
always said to me, the journal is important for me. And it was always, that's why I always, if you ever followed any of my shit, like it's always
Yeah.
been a journal. I've always said journal, my journal. And it's because it's always been about my way of being able to log and go back and for me to go back and say, oh shit, what did I do during that
It
month? And
is.
oh, wow, that's right. I logged it there. And so I implore you, to keep that mentality going and talking your way through your system, because there could come a time where you're like, oh shit, I can't remember what I did. I didn't write that down. And you can actually go back to your thread and be like, oh, that's right. on my journal, I had made note of making a bulb change, or I had done this, and sometimes I've gone back and figured out some
Yes.
problems just by going back to my own personal journal and looking it up. So don't lose sight of that for the
No,
lack
not at
of
all. It is like I'm like, when did I set this tank up? And I just go back and look at my thread. And I'm like, oh, it was set up
hmm
March 27th or whatever. And I know, like, okay, that's the anniversary. Where are we at with this? It's fun. It's cool. Even if I'm talking to myself, it doesn't matter. What's really crazy, like being on Reef to Reef, is I'll get a notification because I've been on there since 2006 or I don't remember, but I get a notification about it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't remember this. And then I look and it's like a post from 2009 that I commented on, and somebody's just now replying. And then I start looking through all those names and I'm like, what a blast from the past. Like, where are these people today? Like, do they still have a tank? Like, there's so many people I miss from back in the day. It was so different back then than it is today because everybody wasn't about, let me be an Instagram star or do this or do, like,
hmm
everybody was just there for the same reason. Like, let's learn, let's learn. Like, we didn't have all the information we have today. So different.
Man, I'm trying to I'm trying to lock down. I don't know if you remember Dom Rangi. He goes by Rangi. He was all over the SPS forum back in like RC days in the 2000, 14, 16 days with, remember
I'd
that
have to
um
see.
he's from Australia. Like
Yeah.
Biggles, and he was friends with like Biggles, and like that those guys.
Yeah.
Um a lot of those guys I like fell out with, and so I'm gonna actually probably be going live with him soon and bringing him
Okay.
on, and just to like, again, I don't know if you remember Sahin, from back in the day, that username Sahin, Sahin. He was an old friend. He was
Sounds
very
familiar.
big in the community here too, in the reef to reef world. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like getting all those people and like finding out where they are now, like who's still doing it, like who's in the game
Yeah.
anymore.
I've noticed, like, when I had my little, well, it was like a 12-year absence on Reef to Reef, if somebody shot me a private message, I would get an email because I was obviously never on Reef to Reef, so I didn't see the messages, but I would get an email and I'm like, huh. And then I would pop on and I'm like, wow, these people are still around. I'd say hi to everybody and then, kind of fade away again because I didn't have a tank and busy in life. But so if there is one of those people, they're not around and they're still on the forums, just shoot them a message. Maybe they'll get the email and reconnect. I've been trying with a few. I've only got one response, but just to see where they're at in life. Like, are you still around? Are you still alive? What's going on? You got a tank? Because I was good friends with a lot of those people and you just never hear from them again. And then you always wonder, like, what happened to that person? Are they still around? Do they got a tank? How's life? Because it was so much more than reefing. Like, it was a family thing. Like, everybody was
hmm
family. We still are. There's still a lot of us that are family. It's just, it's cool. It's a cool hobby. It's a dorky ass hobby, but it's cool.
Yeah, I started in Tampa, man, and I know that you have a buddy of yours that you engage with, that's in the southwest part of Florida, down in like the Bradenton and Sarasota area. I forget the username. Callie something maybe, or something like that. I don't know. But he's on your journal.
Golly.
He's
Uh,
razzing you about your job and stuff like that. Like,
oh, Crusoe.
yeah.
Crusoe, he's one
So
of the guys like I'm just talking about. When I first got back on Reef to Reef, he was in my thread every day, all day, and then he disappeared for like the last year and a half. And I'm like, where'd you go, man? Is everything okay? Did you get in an accident? Like, shit starts going through your mind. Like, what happened to this person? Like, you were engaged every day. It was like morning coffee, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And you're like, all right, well, that sucks. But he came back, so everything's good. He's cool. I love that dude.
yeah, he was talking about some stuff back in the day of like the Tampa, and like I know I saw that he was like part of the Tampa Reef Club and stuff like that. But I
Yeah, with
think he's a
Frank.
little further south. But yeah, I used to I grew up in that I started in the Tampa area, and then I moved to Orlando, the Orlando area. And I mean, I remember when Worldwide Corals was a little shop off of OBT, and like you didn't even know where it was, and there's like this weird arrow like off of I-4, and it's like so obscure, and these like warehouse, it's like totally weird. Like, you're like, oh my God, like where am I? And they just walk in, and I remember buying. The funny thing is your Monty you're talking about earlier, the Mystic Monty.
Mystic.
I bought the
Ah,
Mystic Monty from not Lou, but what's his name? The other owner,
Victor.
uh, Victor. Yeah, Victor. Why am I
Victor. Yeah.
spacing out, man? But yeah, so I remember like dealing with Victor. Victor bagged that damn coral up for me back in the day, and I went home with a
And
pinky
didn't give
nail
you no warning.
size, bro. It was the size of my pinky nail, and he couldn't even keep that in stock. It was the hottest thing in the Central Florida market. I mean, it was, and now like you can't even get that shit to die.
Yeah,
Like
no, I'm looking for somebody that actually breeds them nudie eating manta branches.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
I
just
would
let them
love to
slowly
let
go to
those
work.
things go in my tank.
Oh, that's
As
freaking
sad as it
hilarious.
is, but that's where it's at. Like I've tried everything. I've tried wire brushes and scraping it back and puttying over it, and it slows it down, but it doesn't stop it. And the only
Yeah,
thing that
man.
does stop it is I put my torches against it and I put a chalice on top, so that burned a nice hole in it. And the green slimer, for whatever reason, it holds it back, but nothing else.
Yeah, the
Can't
green
stop that thing.
slimers are, man, they can put out a pretty serious sting.
Yeah, it's met its
Yeah.
match with my CSB though.
No doubt.
It's peeling a little bit on the side.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Well, I think we're getting close to 2, man.
All right.
So I'm gonna let you get back to your family and stuff. But is there anything else you want to share about anything going on in your world with the reef, or just anything else you could think of off the top of your dome, or anything like that?
Not really. I'm looking forward to getting out of my job and trying to do this shit full time. So we'll
Well,
see.
I hope you have great success, man. I'm kind of in the same
Think I
place,
will.
man. I can't. I feel like like at this stage in my life, man, where I'm at, and I was surprised when you said you're mid 70s, dude. By the way, you look great
Yeah.
for your age. So if you're mid
Thank you.
70s, you're doing well,
Yeah.
man. I'm 72 myself, so I'm kind of getting up there, but it's just great to hear your story. It's great that you shared your system, told us a little bit about what's going on in your world. I'm gonna keep in touch with you on Reef to Reef, and I'm hoping if you're available, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but if you're
Ah,
available and Jackson's down, and I know he was down
yeah.
before. We could probably kick something off maybe as soon as next week or the week after if you guys are down.
Yeah.
So
I see he's in the comments right now talking.
I see 70s, no way. Yeah, I know, right? Both of us.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, definitely TroyLee over there is looking a little younger, I think.
Yes, born in the 70s, Jackson,
You don't
not
have as
not
much
like
gray as
middle
me.
age in the 70s.
I'm all silver now,
76.
man. 76. All right, I'm 72. So I got you by
I don't
4.
have no silver. I don't have no hair. I'm bald.
Oh,
I
okay.
went
Well,
bald when I was like 22, 23. I got the gray hair.
yeah, I was gray by the time I was it's probably my daughter, man, to be honest with you. She's probably what got me. Yeah, my boy Matt, he's in the board right now, NSB.
I got 3
Um,
kids. NSB, okay.
yeah, he's good dude, man. He's got a yeah, just to spend a little minute on him, like fabricating. He's like kind of got that engineering mind. He's got a system set up where he's like holding, I want to say 16,000 kilowatts, and he's built a battery system, and he hasn't got the
Okay.
solar panels yet, but he's able to run. He's like on one single charge. I think he said he's running like TV, internet, Wi-Fi, and his entire reef, lighting, everything. And he was at 5 days yesterday on one single charge. I was like, oh, dude, I'm so
Wow.
envious. And when you see the thought, like, dude, I wish I could like share these pictures right now, but like
That's
he's
something I
made
can
this thing
get.
so like I'm like blown away, and I'm like, dude. and to think of like he's like, I'm gonna take this shit off grid. He's like, I'm gonna run my entire reef off grid, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, it's like,
Heavy bomb. I got
yeah,
solar. Vegas, we're bad. Obviously, everybody knows we get 120-degree
oh
summers.
yeah,
I got solar panels up there.
oh hell
Everyone
yeah.
asks, well, that's solar pool heater, and then I got the solar panels there. They work. They're taking the bulk of everything. But since I've had those installed, I've had both tanks put up. So my power bill now is like $130. It used to be 600-700 in the summertime, like $1,000. So they work. But the problem is like right now, when it's not hot out, my AC's not running. I don't have that battery bank, so I'm still on the grid. So all my power goes back to the Nevada Power, which is our power company out here, the only one. So it's a monopoly, and
Mm-hmm.
they pay us like 70 cents on the dollar. But then when I need that back in the summertime when my AC's running, and now you're paying full price. So I'm probably going to look into getting those batteries and just keeping it all myself. It makes more sense.
I'm gonna like encourage him to go on Reef to Reef. I know he said he wasn't a real big fan of it. He's on Instagram, NSB Reefer is what he goes by. But I just would love for him to put up like sort of like how he's built it. You know, I mean, like because I'm sure there's places where he says he does it on he goes back and forth to like Telegram on Discord a lot and stuff like that. So I guess he's a
I've,
part of Discord.
I've
I'm
never
not a
been on
part of it.
Discord. I know Telegram's really big on Instagram with all those power banks and stuff. He uses them a lot. I can't even remember the name of the one that he's always promoting.
He's using the
The
EcoFlow.
River
That's what I have.
EcoFlow. Yeah,
I've
I
got
don't
two of
have
them and they
one.
both broke.
I don't have one. I know I should have one out here, but I've never had a power outage for more than 30 minutes. Knock on wood. But in my entire life out here, they're pretty good about that. Like we don't have the biggest thing we have is a thunderstorm roll through, and we'll get like 80-mile-an-hour winds, but it's never knocked the power out for more than 30 minutes. And I'm not saying that anybody should do that, and I should be getting me a backup. I mean, I do have a couple of inverters if I had to plug into my car in an emergency, but it's not smart. And anybody that knows Sanjay and followed what just happened with his thing is devastating.
Yeah,
When
I
they lost the
don't
power.
really know the details of like what happened. I just had heard,
He
like
lost power for like 10 days or something. Like he lost
oh yeah.
everything.
Yeah, see,
That tank's been.
I got a dual generator. I had the two of the EcoFlows, the bigger one, like the Delta
Yeah.
2s, and that with the extended battery. I had two of them and they both had issues, but I'm not really so concerned with, they're under warranty. They're off actually getting repaired, but I'm going to, I've got a generator that's a hybrid, and I use the propane, and I've got like probably like 7 or 8 full tanks on backup. And I usually like, depending on what I use it for. If I just was to run this little reef, I mean, shit, I could go a long ways. Let's just put it that way. So, but it's peace of mind. I mean, Florida, that's a little bit different.
Yeah,
I've
no,
got
you guys got hurricanes and all kinds of shit out there. We don't deal
it's
with that.
yeah, the weather's definitely can be challenging. It's been beautiful. Like we haven't had any real issues this year, hurricane wise. I mean, like it sucks because I'm a surfer, and it's like we look forward to hurricanes, and
Big
you know
waves.
we we actually try to flag them in. We're like, come on, closer, closer, closer. Now stop, stay right there for
Never
4 or 5
really.
days. Stay right off the coast, about 100 miles for 4 or 5 days, please and thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
but no, it's been kind of a lame year for surfing, but that's okay. Maybe next year, but we haven't had any issues, and I definitely haven't had any problems with power outages and shit like that. So yeah, so there
yeah,
he
I
is
know.
right there.
Adams told me a couple times because I talk to him, like I say, almost all the time, battle corals, and he's got a generator, obviously for his farm, and then a backup generator. And the one time that he did need it, the main failed. It was brand new. He'd never used it. Like test fired it a few times, if I remember the story correct, and it always worked. And then when it came showtime, it didn't work. But
Ah,
luckily, he had a backup, and that one fired up. You can never be too cautious. You always want to err on the side of caution in here. I live kind of recklessly, with a lot of shit I do in the reefing. It hasn't bit me in the ass yet, but probably will someday. Live and
Yeah,
learn.
I mean,
I like to learn the
I,
hard way.
listen, man. I mean, as long as you learn,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
that's it. You
That's
got to learn
life.
from your
Life is
mistakes.
about learning, man. It's about. I tell my kid this all the time. I'm like, don't be afraid to screw up, dude.
No,
Like
not at
if you
all.
don't fail, you don't learn.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
you just gotta keep trying, and we all make mistakes. I would encourage you to get a generator of some sort, just because
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think your
in a
reef is
pinch, if
dope.
I had to, I could
It's
run down to
fucking
work. I
badass.
work like 5 minutes from here. We got plenty of them there. If I was in a pinch and needed one, but yeah,
There
I
you
mean,
go. No, that's good. As long as you have access to one, man, that's
I
totally
do.
cool. Yeah, so good stuff, man. Well, I
All right.
just want to be I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your time. I
Yeah, for
appreciate
sure.
you stopping on over again. We're gonna have this here to archive it, and
Okay.
maybe one day it'll mean something to the right person, and hopefully it'll save a reef or
Hopefully it
two.
does.
You know what I mean, brother? But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll see you out
It
there in
was
the
a little
field, my
awkward in
man.
the beginning. I've never done this live shit, but here I am, and it'll get easier the more we do them, and I'm down with it.
Nah, dude, you did insanely good, man. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, bro. I don't even care. It's like I said, I'm not even gonna
I
sit
hear
here and
you.
wait for a permission slip on whether or not I should do this. I said, screw
Yeah.
it. I'm just gonna reach out, and I contacted you. I contacted everybody.
Go with
Some
the
people
flow.
haven't responded, but hey, it's all
Yeah.
good, man. Like I just I wanna be able to bring your story and have it there. So if somebody is interested in knowing your story, they can always come back and see it here. And whether you share it on online or whatnot, who knows what'll happen over time. Right now,
Yeah.
I think we're up to like 100 and something videos, and I'm just like, just keep building this little library out and make it
Oh, that's
accessible
cool.
for everybody and make it a learning stop, and
For
that's
sure.
truly all it's about, man. It's just sharing the passion for the hobby, So I appreciate what you're doing out there. I appreciate the fact that that you're so adamant about being a part of Battle Corals and the sponsoring and saying the good words
Yeah.
over Battle Corals, because when it all shakes out, I think Adam, if everything crashes in the farming world, Adam's still going to be around, man. Like just
He will.
he has a solid reputation, and I can't speak highly enough of the dude. And I appreciate
Thanks.
him for every coral I've ever bought. So the fact that you advocate and you push for him, and you're a part of the grow outs and stuff like that, it takes a
Yeah.
lot of your time. It takes a lot of work,
It
and I
does,
just want to
but
say
it's like
it's appreciated.
I'll say it again. Like anybody that wants to get into keeping SPS, or even if you do get in one of those grow outs, I'm telling you, it doesn't even have to be Adams. I'm sure that there's some other vendors that are doing them now. I'm not going to say their names, but anyway, just get in one. You'll get in so much more tune with your tank because every day you're going to look at it. You're like, okay, like, what are we doing? How's this coral look? And you do adjustments to make that one happy. And that might be from experience. Probably, there's always one in your tank that's like a tester coral. Like, if that coral's not looking good, something's off and you'll
Oh yeah.
adjust. And then the whole tank responds to it. Like, there's always a tester coral in there somewhere. One of them is finicky or whatever, and something's wrong when that coral's not happy, and that could be your grow out piece. I mean, I don't know. That's one of the biggest things that kept me so in tune with that tank was just the challenge, the fun. All right, let's see if I can grow this better than these guys, and especially now that you can battle against Adam. Like the guy's a master at what he does. If you can beat him, you're doing something right. It's pretty simple. It's cool. It's fun. Any of
Oh
them.
man, you're killing it. Your tank is gorgeous. The colors are insane. The colonies are huge and beautiful.
Yeah.
When I look across your reef, I see that array of colors that reminds me of a box of Crayolas, and that's the name of the game to me. And you've hit that benchmark, and I appreciate you sharing what you do and sharing your love and your passion, and most importantly, sharing your tank. It's
Yeah.
it's well
Yeah. For
appreciated.
sure.
I'm sure
For
a lot
sure.
of people out there can appreciate it equally. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
all
been
right,
cool.
my
It's been
brother.
cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be in touch with you, and we're gonna be setting something up for a panel in December,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we're gonna get into all this shit. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
you know, and then that way we can all engage with it. So thanks again, man. I appreciate you, TroyLee. It's a pleasure, man.
Okay.
Nice to meet you,
You
brother.
too, man. You too, man.
All right, take care, man.
Peace out.
Later, brother.